In a evening, Derek's father was called away on business, so he had to leave Derek in charge of the restaurant. His father left French fries in the deep fat fryer, and as he was leaving, he warned Derek to check the fries. But, being a lazy you-know-what, Derek soon forgot about checking the fries. Suddenly, the phone rang, and when Derek answered it, a creepy voice said,
"Have you checked the fries?"
Derek thought it was his father checking up on him, so he said,
"Yes, Dad, everything was just fine."
And hung up without checking the French fries. A few minutes later, the phone rang again, and the creepy voice said,
"When are you going to check the fries?"
Derek just laughed and hung up again. A few minutes later, the phone rang a third time, and the creepy voice said,
"I strongly advise you to check on those fries."
Derek decided he better check on the fries, so he lifted the pan out of the deep fat fryer. Suddenly, he screamed and recoiled in horror. Instead of French fries, it was the severed head of his father. Worse still, it was only half fried. Even worse, there was a note attached to it that read,
"I told you to check the fries."
Too scared to subscribe?
911, what's your emergency?
Hello? Hi. So, I just broke into a house and killed a man.
Excuse me, could you repeat that, sir? What is your name, sir?
Oh, my name? It's Jack, and I just killed a man. Can you believe that?
Your full name. Where are you, sir? What's the address?
I'm not going to tell you. Well, I'm not going to tell you that until I'm done.
Done? Done with what, sir?
Well, the man I killed had a family, a wife and a child. I've tied them up for now.
Sir, please tell me your address. There's a wife and a child. Truck the phone. Hello, sir, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. The mother keeps begging me not to hurt her child. But I don't get it. Why does she not understand that in this situation, she can't tell me what to do?
I was sitting behind the counter, waiting for a customer to arrive. I never liked working the graveyard shift, but who can refuse extra money? A tumultuous thunderstorm was going outside, making the glass doors shudder. My phone started to drain out. Once it finally switched off, I plugged it into the charger. Now I was even more bored, with nothing to do, sitting in an empty Dunkin' Donuts shop. I decided to make myself a cup of coffee so that I didn't doze off on my shift. There are times when all I want is to be alone, but standing in Dunkin' Donuts that night in the middle of a thunderstorm made me feel weird. My uncle owns this shop. I go to college and work part-time here. I sat down at a corner table with a cup of coffee. The storm was getting louder and stronger. I was about to take another sip when the power went out, and at the same time, the entrance doorbell rang.
One Friday night, when I was in high school, I was just hanging out with my best friend Anna at her house and planned to sleep over that night. We were in the mood to watch a movie, and felt like doing something more adventurous. She suggested that we go on to this anonymous video chat site that she had heard about from one of her friends at school. It was called Omegle, and I have never heard about it before. She told me all I needed to know and tried to convince me it would be a great way of meeting cute guys. We were both ready for what was waiting for us on the site. Whilst logging in, it said, "You have to be 18 plus before you."
I was always known as the weird girl, the one with no friends, strict parents, and strange habits. I was an outcast in part because I ate hot sauce sandwiches and sleepwalked. School days were long and torturous. There was nothing good about middle school. The worst part was definitely the ridicule from the popular crowd. They roamed the school in a pack, infecting others with their hatred and prejudice. I tried to avoid them, but they always tracked me down. They could have been bloodhounds. As fate would have it,
my grandpa came to visit for the first time since we moved to the city for the first time too. For my mum and I it was hard because my dad needed to stay there for his occupation. As always, I never liked being hugged or kissed on the face by my parents or anybody else either. Actually, I was told by my 10-year-old cousin when I was only 6 years old, that her sister got pregnant because she was kissed by her boyfriend. It's a long story, but as my grandpa came home for the first time in 6 months, he came in from the front door. Mom said it was Grandpa. Before I could leave, Grandpa embraced me and kissed me on the cheek. The next day, I went to school and told my teacher, Miss Mary, that Grandpa got me pregnant. Before I could say on the cheek, she called the principal and the cops to get Grandpa. After returning home from school, my parents were disappointed and asked me why I lied about Grandpa. I was speechless on my parents' reactions, but all I could do was to break into crocodile tears and told them Grandpa kissed me on the cheek and got me pregnant. They laughed out loud, and the previous day my grandpa got released since there was no point and sense in my statements, and now I live with the shame because my grandpa died the previous day after the incident, and now I'm pregnant whilst I'm still a virgin at the age of 16. I just hope he forgives me.
I had recently spawned a new world in single-player Minecraft. Everything was normal at first as I began chopping down trees and crafting a workbench. I noticed something move amongst the dense fog.
Support the channel. Thank you. At age 10, I wasn't quite as developed as a lot of people were when it came to their sense of fantasy versus reality. I was all about fantasy, and I didn't care about anything else. Every day, I would play Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! On the playground with my closest friends while the other kids played sports and ran around on the jungle gym. Bullies would always call me a baby because I talked to my cards like they were real. I didn't care who saw me do it, either. I was an average freak to them.
No. How could you after all the years I have been there for you?
For me, what do you mean, Dad?
You killed them all, child, except one of my colleagues. If you tell the cops, you might also kill them and rot in jail. You can't kill me because you love me and my blood runs in your vein because we are not just humans.
Dad, I'm a murderer. No.
Look at yourself, silly, you have blood on your hands.
After crying instead of disagreeing. Seriously, you thought I never knew. Those were the words I said, but I still loved him and always thanked him for everything. Yes, I'm a murderer, no one will ever find me. When she got into ashes, it took her 15 minutes.
Hey there, before leaving, I have realized most of you are often not subscribers. Please, before leaving, subscribe.
And the police caught this killer. What he did was...
I am coming for you. Hi, I hope you all will keep this a secret. I am an undercover agent, and I am here to catch all the criminals in this area. Just kidding, but not criminals who were found, but ghosts in a haunted road.
Hi, my name is Elisa, but before I start my story, please subscribe to Grabegiart channel. I was on my way.
That day, a Thursday, was one of the moments when I always recorded my dances. From time to time, I liked to read the comments, so at nighttime, after posting, I began to do it. That was when I noticed something strange. Are you still trying to scare us? I wasn't able to understand it at first, so I continued reading. Should I be scared? It makes me laugh. I mean, it's very obvious. What did they mean? She only does it for the views. I can't believe she fell so low. That comment had several answers, which I decided to read. What do you mean? Look at the window. Those simple words gave me a bad feeling, which was due to a simple reason. I hadn't put anything in the window. Nervous, I watched my TikTok carefully. Everything seemed normal. I even began to think that these comments were a simple joke, until, suddenly, by a small space between the curtains, a woman's face appeared. My heart began to beat quickly. I immediately checked my other posts. It seemed that she was only there on Thursdays. I was beginning to hyperventilate when the door of the room opened, which scared me.
My new apartment owner seemed like a gentleman the first time I met him. He answered all my questions patiently. However, when I moved in, I could not sleep, due to a horrific smell. It was fishy and quiet, not understandable. At first I thought I would get used to it, but it got worse every day. One day everything changed when my girlfriend came to visit and we both saw the door open when we arrived. As we came in, the more the smell got worse. And due to that, my girlfriend and I went to the CCTV room. As we both checked in, what we saw was horrible. It was him with a gentleman having a terrible fight. In words to begin with, he was with a sharp tool. But as the owner stabbed this man, he looked into the camera and laughed.
I do actually. There is a lot of miracles happening, but we don't see it or get to understand it. When I was just a 6-year-old, I got to see him, ghosts and monsters, but did not understand. But after years of living in miracles, I got to understand. Well, I'm here to share, because I wouldn't have been here sharing today because I've been saved by him. He saved me. I don't know how to describe this as a vision or a dream, but I felt it, and I felt Jesus, but my eyes were open, but I wasn't in my body or dead. All I was doing was watch the sky. But Hi, my name is Elisa, but before I start my story, please subscribe to Grabegiart channel. I was on my way for a run with my dog in the woods at the park behind my home as usual, but unfortunately my dog Rocky was no longer in the mood and tried to warn me of something. But we did go. Before I could know, my dog barked at a tree behind us, but I thought Rocky was just making it up. And there it was. As I turned my back, it was a creepy creature from hell. It just stood there looking at me. Before I could move, Rocky pulled me up and escaped. Whilst escaping, I saw it running after us, and I saw it long sharp teeth and tongue almost of a frog trying to catch its prey. And here I'm alive thanks to Rocky, but it still gives me goosebumps. Every time I go to sleep I see it, and the last few words I can